Real question about Duke. How much did it fuck you up mentally being that hated at that young of an age? Because you were, I mean, we're talking Christian Laettner level. We're talking about, you know, you saw Grayson Allen start just tripping people because people hated him so much.
You were the heir apparent to Wojo, right?
Yeah.
He was the guy that kind of bridged the gap of hateable Duke players between Laettner and yourself.
Throw Chris Collins in there for me.
Chris Collins, John Shire. You're the junkyard John Shire because John Shire won a national title. That hurt, didn't it?
That
was mean.
That was mean.
still bothers me.
But you did have Adam Morrison
Thank
crying,
you.
so that's okay. You got that.
Man. Yeah, it fucked me up. It forced me to take on a persona that was not me. I think there's not many 18 or 19-year-old kids that are like really comfortable with who they are. You're still at the point in your life where you're trying to figure things out. You're also like inevitably, I think every male at that age is a little bit of a douchebag.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree with that?
Yes. 100%.
And so the confluence of those things like made me into this like maniac on the court. And like, I think I toned it down as I matured at Duke, like my junior and senior year. But even then, like you see something that I did, or like the head bobbing, or talking shit to the Baltimore Ravens owner when we're kicking their ass at Maryland, and I'm just like, why was I doing those things?
Yeah.
Like they're cringeworthy,
right?
You know. So I think part of it too was some of it was immaturity, but like I had to process like people saying things that you just don't hear said about you, to you, about your family. Some of the stuff that was said about my sisters was just like, how can anyone just be that hateful? It just didn't make sense to me. And so like, you know, there was a lot of processing, and especially those first 2 years at Duke. Like I wanted to quit my sophomore year. Like I remember in December of that year, I had my sisters meet me on campus. They lived in Raleigh. They still do. And they lived in Raleigh, and they came over for dinner, and I was just like, I don't want to play anymore. Like this is not for me. It's not fun. You know, like I really struggled those first 2 years. It was really hard for me. I spent like 3 years at Duke, like seeing a therapist. I mean,
really?
yeah. And it was like the best thing for me.
Was there an element of like you get treated as a villain for so long that you start to just become a villain? That's like you start to buy into what everybody's saying about you?
So it's like you think I'm an asshole. Okay, I'll be an asshole.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you're 19 and you're like, I kind of like this. I never, even like now, I don't like, I'm never like, oh, we're playing on the road. There's 20,000 people screaming against me. Like I've never even at Duke, I didn't feel that. What I felt was just like things being said to me. Like, you know, even like on campus, we're in the middle of North Carolina. So, you know, the woman who spreads your cream cheese on your bagel in the morning at the food hall is talking shit to you, and you're like, what? I can't escape this.
Right.
I can't go anywhere.
Right.
And at the time, and although like as a professional now, I don't think college basketball is maybe as big necessarily as I felt it was at the time, but it felt like I was just in this fishbowl and everybody was looking at me.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of were. I mean, JJ Redick at Duke was like the height of kind of college basketball at those years, you know? I mean, I think if you have a hateable white guy at Duke, they kind of transcend.
And I stayed 4 years.
Right,
so
and like, and if people get, that always happens where people, if a college player stays 4 years and is successful every year, it feels like they never graduated. It's like, this guy again? Like, are you serious?
Isn't he in his 7th year?
Right, exactly. It's the Perry Ellis effect, although he was like 7
years. 8 years, I think.
What's your top four, would you say, the most hated Duke players of all time? Are you on it? Yeah. Mount Rushmore? Yeah. Christian Laettner, you?
Christian Laettner, me, Grayson. The fourth one's tough.
It is.
Because I think those three.
Yep.
Speaking honestly, I would probably. I don't know. I think I bridged this weird gap because it was before social media.
Mm-hmm.
But like, Christian Laettner wasn't necessarily dealing with like fan forums either, and message boards. Like message boards were a thing when I played. So I think me and Laettner would probably be 1, 2 in any order, really, depending on how you viewed it. And then Grayson, the fourth, man. I don't know. It's so hard for me to say Shire because he's such a nice guy.
I know he is.
And he never did anything wrong other than
I
make
know.
silly faces.
Right.
Like the worst thing the guy ever did was make a weird groan face.
Right.
That they screenshotted over and over.
That's all it takes.
Yeah. So I'll put Wojo there.
Okay.
I'll
All
put
right.
Wojo
That's
there.
perfect.
Yeah.
So when you graduated Duke, and we have this theory, did you get the tattoos and the Euro haircut to try to be like, hey, I'm a different guy? Like, that's Duke guys love to do that, where they get into the NBA and they have a totally different look, just so you can be like, did that guy play at Duke? I can't remember. So our hate kind of like, you slow us down on our hate.
Yeah. I was transitioning into the NBA, and as I came into the NBA, there was all these players in the league that literally wanted to like chew me up and spit me out, and I felt like a lot of that was Duke, you know, and all of it was I was a cocky, arrogant 21-year-old, but so I actually felt like I sort of distanced myself from Duke. I wish I hadn't done that for like maybe 2 years, those first 2 years in the league, and then like I got like the faux hawk. Remember it was like 2008, 2007, 2008. Like people had like the faux hawk where you would like shave the sides but leave the back long in the middle, and then spike it up. And I had that. And looking back, that was one of the worst haircuts. I mean, I've had bad haircuts,
but it's
that
the way
was
like
worst.
the Plumlee brothers do. All of them have beards or different haircuts.
Yeah.
It's the best way to do it.
Tattoos, I don't, because I got like two little ones, one on my chest and one on my stomach. Like when I was at Duke, I don't know. I was like, that wasn't to me like in an effort to like be anti-Duke. It was just kind of like, especially like the sleeve. It was just something I wanted to do.
I think a lot of people
it was
go through that.
self-serving.
Like
it was self-serving.
After you graduate college, you're still trying to find yourself. It's probably not strictly related to Duke basketball, but I feel like there's a higher correlation there that we've noticed.
Yes.
When you guys, so one thing I always notice about Duke is every single time there's a whistle, whenever there's a dead ball, no matter what it is, you guys all do that thing where you huddle up together, put your arms around each other, and then you say something. Do you ever run out of shit to say? Because it happens like 5 times a minute.
Yeah.
It does happen a lot. If there's 3 whistles in 30 seconds, it gets annoying. Usually it's like the captain, whoever's on the court that's a captain is like in charge of speaking. But this is all like going back to Coach K's military background. I mean, this is something like he's sort of instituted from the beginning. He played for and coached under Bob Knight. Like this is old school. I mean, this is something that, he's taught for 40 or 50 years. And I don't know, like, I don't even remember what I used to say in those huddles other than like, let's go. You know? If you really lip read them, it's like, let's go.
Come on, guys.
Come on, guys.
Rebound better.
Yeah.
Like what else
Get
you gonna
the
say?
fucking ball.
Yeah, right. Shoot it.
For a while, I used to think that Duke basketball players were these master tacticians that would make these like tiny adjustments every time there was a whistle. And then I was like, they're probably just congratulating each other, like giving like small little words of encouragement.
Yeah. I would totally agree with that. It is not any sort of strategic talk in those huddles. It's very quick, and it's like maybe a reminder, maybe a reminder.
I do think
we're switching on this play or something like that.
But
it's not like, here's what we need to do on the next play, guys.
Right.